We have some mics.
I got a job.
You got a job?
8 months away.
What's that?
8 months.
8 months. Wow. Wow. Man, God came through. That's awesome. Congratulations. God bless you. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Anybody else got anything to share?
I do.
Oh, Lady E. Where's the other one? I got two. I need someone else to stand up and help talk.
No.
Okay, thank you, Reverend.
I just want to thank you, Pastor, for your sermon on Sunday, coming out of 1 Samuel, 30th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, the 8th verse. I am one of those 400 that made it over that mountain. I went home on Sunday, and my dad usually come to the house and eat dinner every Sunday. And he came in, and the first thing he had confronted me with was a lie that was told on me. I stopped everything, picked up the phone, called a meeting on Tuesday, and had that meeting, put a stop to that meeting, to them lies, he say, she say stuff, got it all over with, done, finished, told them, don't put them, the spirit of my name out of their mouths. I'm done, finished, over with, and I'm done.
Good for you. Good. So your dad wasn't mad at you, or he was just telling you about, he was just letting you know.
He was just letting me know.
Oh, good. That's good. That's good. Like I said on Sunday, boy, you always have someone in your camp on the enemies.
Yeah.
You never know who's in your corner. Who will speak up on your behalf when people try to lie and run your name, boy. You just never know. And sometimes you'll be shocked on who it is. You'll be surprised on who it is that's speaking up for you. So, anybody else got anything they want to share? Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna continue. Last week we talked about the difference in abuse and men and women who get abused in so many different ways. After I was done, I was wondering if we talking about, if we've been taking what we've been talking about serious. Because the whole thing was based on the whole R. Kelly thing, and there was abuse and all of that. And, you know, you don't have to be a celebrity, you don't have to be someone famous, you can just be a regular person and have to deal with some type of abuse, sexual abuse or physical abuse, emotional abuse, people telling you that you're nothing. Still, I was still surprised that I was hoping we'd talk a little bit more about how men get abused, but no one really want to talk about it too much. But it's real talk. It happens. It happens. How men get physically abused and how they get mentally abused by the person that they're with, and they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to share with other men because as a man, we're like, no, that ain't supposed to go down that way. But you'd be surprised. I know last week we were talking, and Richard was saying that, you know, I guess it's in the military, when they go to the doctor, they'll ask you, are you being abused at home? Like, wow, that's a crazy question.
Sometimes you don't even know.
Yeah, you don't even know that someone's being abused, and it's amazing. And it happens even in the church, y'all. There are people in the church who get abused. I mean, don't. That's why I always say, don't let, when you come up in here, we all may look like we got it together, but truth of the matter is, there's some stuff going on with a whole lot of people. We have no idea, and so just surprised we didn't really get more into that. But I'm hoping that maybe when us as men get together, we can really talk about it a little bit more, because I think it's something that even in the church that needs to be talked about. Now, obviously, it didn't happen. Well, yeah, it did. And you look at R. Kelly's situation; he was abused.
Yeah.
He was abused, and hurt people. And he's obviously still hurt because he's still hurting people. So tonight, we'll talk about dating. I saved this one kind of towards the end because I've been told privately. I've been told privately that, you know, I'm kind of hard on the single people, that I kind of give them a dark picture. I don't give you all any hope. That's what I've been told. That I don't give you all any hope in the dating scene. Well, let me just say this. I'm not going to apologize. Number one, I'm going to keep it real with you. So here's the problem I've come to figure out. Sometimes, even as pastors, sometimes when you tell people truth, it becomes, I said this last week, it becomes my opinion. Yeah, it becomes my opinion. But when I say, man, all men, that man did you wrong, and then it becomes, you own it. I even noticed, I pay attention, you know, I noticed even one of the Wednesdays, I was saying something about the men, and the ladies were all up in an uproar. Like, yeah. And then when I say something about y'all, well, I got some eyes. I got stoned like Stephen up here. Let me just tell y'all this. And I said this before, and I say it again. My job as pastor is not just to preach and teach. When you are joining church, God entrusted me over your spiritual souls. And so it's also my job to make sure I tell you stuff that the world is doing to get you messed up. It's not popular all the time, I get it. But let me just say, I don't benefit by being truthful with you. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, yeah, this is the reason why. And you're like, well, why would he say that? Well, I'm telling you because I care about you. I hope you all believe that. You know, last thing I would want is for someone to say, Pastor, this happened to me, and I knew that I could have maybe prevented that, but I didn't address it. And it was like with God and Ezekiel had that conversation, and God told Ezekiel, look here, you say what I tell you to say. Because if you don't say it and the people mess up, the blood is on your head. But if you tell them and they mess up, then the blood's on their head. So the blood about to be on your head. Real talk. Because I really believe that God placed all this stuff that we're talking about. He really did place it on my heart. That we need to talk about all these things. All these things. So we're going to talk about dating tonight. First, we're going to jump into this online stuff. It's online dating thing. It's a big craze. A lot of people are doing it. I'm going to show you a couple of videos, too. When I did some research, they said there's like over 8,000 sites. That's a whole lot, though. Over 8,000 sites that people go on and they try to find someone. I did some research. I'll give y'all numbers like I did all the other ones. 1 in 10 are scammers. 25% of them that go on there are rapists. Last year, or 2 years now, 16,000 people were abducted because of it. Thousands of rapes. Half of online daters are already in relationships. 11% of them are already married. 62% lie about their relationship status. 51% are already in long-term relationships. 4 out of 5 women have sex with people they meet online. 33% of them have sex with them on the first date. I know we have some here that do it. Well, no. Show the videos first. Let me show y'all the videos before I really jump into where I really want to jump into. The order I gave it to you. Do you remember? No, I ain't trying to be funny. Y'all crazy. Before I texted to him, I said, number 1, number 2. And in this order. That's what I put on the text. I just want y'all to watch this because, I mean, this is stuff that I pulled up. There's a whole lot more that I could have put up, but I didn't want to do that. But there's a whole lot of stuff about this online stuff that I wanted us to talk about. That's me talking, but that ain't me talking. I don't know what y'all got me like one of them karate movies where my mouth is moving. That ain't me talking. Y'all got it queued up there? Yep. Okay, go ahead.
The right person is tough. A lot of people turn to dating websites and messaging services to help out.
In fact, 20% of all relationships begin online. QCTV5's Angie Racono has one woman's dating nightmare and ways you can protect yourself in tonight's investigation.
He was charming and funny, then said he was falling in love. But a local woman says her new boyfriend had a secret, ugly past. We're concealing her identity and calling her Lee because she fears for her life.
This was the rare instance where somebody reached out to me and found me, and I was like, oh, interesting, okay.
It started with instant messages and eventually led to dating. 2 adults looking for a connection.
Just somebody that was decent, you know, have a good time with, maybe go have a beer with.
Lee says things were going great until she learned there were other women. When she really went digging, she discovered her new boyfriend was actually a convicted sex offender.
I remember sitting in my living room reading all the court papers, just completely sick, just bawling my eyes out and just beside myself.
Her new boyfriend had multiple sex crime convictions involving young teenage girls who were the exact same age as her daughters. Lee tried to do her research, but when she searched her new boyfriend's name, she didn't find anything.
Nothing showed up because he goes by the middle name rather than his first name.
Keith Charles is actually Blair Keith Charles Jr. Lee broke it off, and that's when things took a turn.
But you know something? I'm at the point, it's either going to be a few or we're going to talk.
And those creepy phone calls let her know he was watching.
Was able to tell me where we ate dinner. I said, how did you even know that? He was like, I know more than you think. That's when I called the police.
Lee turned to the police and courts for help. She got protection orders, but that didn't stop Charles. He continued to drive by her house, call her, and send messages. So here's Charles outside the Cass County Courthouse, charged with stalking. The case heads to court in March.
I'm terrified. I mean, like I said, there's a loaded gun in my room every day.
KCTV5 dug into Charles' background and discovered Lee isn't the only one who filed a protection order against him. There's another woman who's asked courts and police for help.
Your gut instinct is 98% right.
We checked in with a dating expert to find out what women can do to protect themselves.
You're looking for a lifetime mate. Why wouldn't you put as much effort into vetting a potential mate as you would in a potential employee?
Rick Soderbergh says while Lee did nothing wrong, there are steps you can take. First, do your research and be upfront. Let your date know you plan to verify their story. That will scare most creepers away. He suggests you Google proof your profile and start with a picture. Make sure that image can't be found in any other social media. A stalker could reverse search the image and know more than you want.
I don't think you can be too safe. If your gut says it's off, it's off.
Some other advice: keep your profile generic. Don't say where you work, but perhaps what you do. And write a clear paragraph about what you're looking for. That will help you attract the right person. Angie Racono, KCTV5 News. Brett.
And we reached out to Blair Keith Charles Jr. for comment, but our phone calls were not returned. The investigation continues online right now. There you'll find even more.
Who swept Zinea Barney off her feet.
You said he almost seemed like the dream guy.
Yeah, I feel like a wonderland with him.
She says 27-year-old Daniel Drayton was a handsome, charismatic conversationalist she met on a dating app.
Like, we talked so much, we had so much in common. You know, he seemed like a real good guy.
She had no idea her life was in danger.
You never wake up one day and be like, my boyfriend that I'm dating is gonna try to kill me.
The man she thought she was falling for, allegedly stalking her, threatening her, and her son, nearly choking her to death. Now we're learning Daniel Drayton is also a suspected murderer and rapist, accused of killing 29-year-old nurse Samantha Stewart last month and luring a number of women he met on dating sites into a string of heinous assaults. Zinea says Drayton first contacted her on the app Plenty of Fish in November of last year. She says she wasn't even looking for love.
He hit me up for like 2 days straight, didn't pay it any mind. Then I finally replied. And from there, like, our conversations went like every day.
They struck up a fast friendship. It quickly turned to romance.
He wanted a lot in life and he had goals. No red flags, nothing to complain about. It was a delight to talk to him at that time.
How often did you guys see each other?
Every day. It was not a day we didn't see each other.
They dated 6 months. Drayton even met her young son. Zinea asked us not to show him.
The perfect guy. That's how it was, pretended to be.
But alarm bells went off when she saw another woman calling Drayton's phone. Zinea picked up.
And I'm just like, oh, how did you meet him? She said, oh, through the app. I said, Plenty of Fish. She said, yes. And I was like, okay, but did he, mention to you, he has a girlfriend? She was like, oh, no, he didn't mention that at all. And I just told him to get out my car. And that was how things started going left from that point on.
She says she broke it off, but he persisted, pleading to get her back, even trying to contact her on social media using multiple aliases.
And how did things start to spiral?
Every day he'll keep hitting me up, he'll wait outside my house to the point he'll sleep outside my house, spend the night, or up watching my window.
When did you start realizing that there might be a threat to you?
The night he waited outside my house, I don't know the particular day, but it was in June.
She says he started throwing rocks at her window, at one point sneaking inside.
And then that's when he placed the ladder clean through my window because I wouldn't let him in my house.
Another night, Barney says she filmed Drayton waiting out front. She claims she began to receive chilling texts and calls like this one, threatening to harm her son.
That's what you gonna do? You gonna do what? has to go.
On June 13th, things escalated.
The day started off with him blowing my phone up as usual. He just kept calling me. So I was just like, let me just answer. He was like, oh, can we link up? I just want to talk to you. I'm about to go to California for a job.
She reluctantly agreed to see him off. They met for lunch. He didn't eat, but he asked if she could drop him at a nearby park.
I come into the park, I'm driving like this. I actually pull up exactly right here. That's when he proceeded to sit here and say, are we still gonna be together? Are we still gonna be back together? And I said, no.
She says he refused to get out of the car.
And that's when he just looked at me in the car and then jumped across. Had both of his knees on top of my knees while my seatbelt was still on. He got two of his hands stuck, his whole thumb in my throat, and that's why I started to mark to this day.
At some point, did you think this is it?
When he was choking me, I can't even describe the feeling. That's when I kept feeling like this is it. I just kept thinking about my son. Like I have to live for my son. I have to get out.
In the very spot where it happened, she shows us how she narrowly escaped.
So I couldn't breathe, and at that moment, I had no choice but to just use my door to open it, and I got out, fell like this on the floor. And as I looked up, I seen 3 men come out the parking lot.
3 workers, seeing her in distress, rushed to help.
They asked me where I was all right. They was trying to save me from him. He viciously came around the car trying to attack me again. He kept saying he was gonna kill me.
The men call police, but Drayton takes off.
If those 3 men didn't appear, I wouldn't be here.
Days later, Drayton was arrested and eventually charged with trespassing and strangulation. But a Nassau County judge later granting his release. Turns out, Drayton had already served 4 years in a Connecticut prison on multiple charges, including second-degree strangulation, unlawful restraint, and violating a restraining order. The Nassau County Court telling ABC News there was no way the judge could have known. The judge didn't know there was an out-of-state criminal history. Weeks after his release, that New York nurse Samantha Stewart is found dead in her home. Another 23-year-old woman raped. Police uncover both had gone on a date with Drayton.
The common denominator in these 2 cases, one being a murder, one being a rape, is dating websites.
How concerned were you when you found out that he had been released after that incident with you?
I was scared. I found out he was released that Wednesday when they announced that he may have murdered that young lady. I was so scared. I'm like, what can a mother do to protect her son?
The hunt leads investigators all the way to California.
2 independent investigations, as they progressed, led our detectives to one and the same individual. That individual was tracked across the country.
A fugitive task force and Los Angeles police eventually tracking him down in North Hollywood, arresting him last week in a hotel where they say he had raped and attempted to kill a woman he was holding hostage. He has pleaded not guilty to those charges. Drayton allegedly told investigators he had committed as many as 7 murders. Authorities now investigating.
At this point in time, any comments that he's made to us about his participation in other crimes has not been verified yet, but there is a lot of work to do.
In an interview with the New York Daily News, Drayton speaking out from behind bars, admitting he did choke Zanea, calling himself a, quote, good person, but saying that voices in his head make him do these things. Drayton went on to claim he was hoping to get caught because he didn't want anyone else to get hurt. But Zanea says that man she once fell for should not be underestimated.
No, I would literally believe that he would kill, his eyes, everything he did to me. I believe that he's capable of anything.
You feel guilt?
I felt guilty in the beginning because I kept feeling like, how can I not see the signs?
Zanea now says she's swearing off all those dating apps for good.
Has this changed your outlook on those online dating apps?
Completely. I deleted every single one.
Los Angeles detective Trent Thurber investigates criminals using online dating to prey on their victims.
Online dating makes it a lot easier to trick somebody.
Thurber's advice when dating online, take things slow and do your research.
Checking the internet, there's a lot of information out there. Background checks are always good if you're willing to go the extra mile.
Experts say you can reverse image search your date to see where else their photo pops up. And trust your gut if something feels off.
Our instinct maybe needs to come into play. If you get one of those nervous feelings, maybe that's the time to to cut it off and move on.
For Zanea, her harrowing experience has forced painful reflection and conviction to share her story as a warning for others.
Do you feel lucky to have survived?
I feel highly blessed, and I thank God every day about it, because I relive it every day, you know. It just doesn't go away.
Hi, everyone.
All right. Few things about that. You know, we talk about doing background checks and all that. It's hard to do a background check when more than half the people on there don't put the real names. You can't do a real. I mean, you can. You can't do a background check if someone don't put their real name. You see, he changed his stuff around. When she mentioned the phone call, and this is one of the things I really want to touch on. You know, if you think that you're the only one that he or she is seeing, you sadly mistaken. That's why they're on there, so that they can have multiple people to see. Y'all looking at me crazy. Put it this way. Let me just keep it real. Back in the 80s and 90s, if they had this, a whole lot of us would have never went out to no club. A whole lot of us would have never went out and did other stuff. We would have just typed, and that would have been it. Keep it real. But the whole thing is it's a dangerous thing to get yourself into. I gave y'all the stuff earlier, the type of people that go on there. You go on there because, well, let me say from a man's perspective, we're going on there not to get serious. That's real talk. Let me say it again. For men go on these sites not to look for someone to be serious with. We're going on there to try to hook up with someone. And we're going to tell you everything you want to hear. Dottie, can I share a conversation that you and I had about that? Dottie and I had a conversation. This is someone at the church. I'll ask her, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me about the story. She was at work, walked up on this coworker, it was a male, and he had 4 screens up, right? Am I right? Am I telling you? Is that right? He had the 4 little screens up, and you asked him what he was doing. And he said, I'm chatting with 4 different ladies right now. Is that right? On an online site. He was chat with one. Why he's at work? And he was married. But they probably didn't know that. So, hold on, but I need y'all to talk on mics.
I said, and more than likely on the government computer.
Oh, yeah. Was it? Yeah. But the point that I'm making is, I understand the whole thing about wanting to go and do that. I mean, well, I don't understand it, but I do understand it. It's dangerous. Because you don't know who that really is, number one. They can put a picture up and that might even be the same picture of the person that you supposedly gonna go see. There was another video I didn't show you, because not just women, but men too. This one guy met this woman online, and he met this lady at this park. We're gonna meet at a park. They met at this park, and he gets in the car with her, not knowing that in the back seat, there was a guy in there who not only beat him up, put a gun to his head, and took his money. Go both ways. You hear what I'm saying? It go both ways. Not just ladies that catch it, brother, guys are catching it too. Because it becomes a hustle. You lure him in, and then when he gets here, then we can go ahead and do so. We can take his money. We can do. I mean, that's scary. And then they say, you know, well, if you go out, you know, meet in separate cars or go in separate cars. Okay, fine. That don't mean he ain't gonna follow you, or she ain't gonna follow you home. Now, y'all gonna probably think I'm real crazy what I'm about to say. But I'm gonna say this because it happens. People are crazy now, y'all. That you go out with them and you don't know if they just tap something, put a tracking device, a little chip or something, stick it on your purse, and just follow you on their phone on where you live. There was a story not that long ago. It was on television. This young lady got raped and killed from a guy she met online. Never told the dude where she lived, but he found out and killed her. And it's not hard, y'all, to find out where someone lives. Everything's buttons away. If someone want to find out where you live, they gonna find out where you live. And I can only speak for guys. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm gonna talk like how we would talk as guys. If a guy goes online, if one of my boys goes online, you know what I'm gonna tell him? You have no game. That's real talk. If you gotta go to that, if you have to go to those extremes, something wrong. Am I lying, brothers? Would you tell your friends that, brothers?
Real talk. That's real.
Something wrong with you. If you have to go to those extremes, you just can't go. I'm old school. Ain't nothing wrong with just going up to the lady and say, how you doing? My name is Larry. I'm a cat. Y'all don't know about that song, that old school song. Yeah. Richard and then Derek got something. Go ahead, Rick. But Richard had it first, and then Derek, and then who else? Uncle Walt. Okay.
No, I was gonna say, Pastor, that you talking about guys getting set up. This is real talk because this was going on before the online scene.
Okay.
But you got to be careful of these of people, like Pastor said, people you come in contact with, because you don't know their backgrounds, you don't know their situations. And I'll be the first to tell someone if a person is grimy or not, because I've hung around those that will do it, and I've hung around those that got caught up. And it's on both sides. It's on the female side and the male side. So I know the game, and if you're not hip to the game,
you don't get
like I tell my kids, y'all suburban.
Yeah.
Y'all not city.
Yeah.
You don't know it all.
Right.
There's some 10-year-olds that will run some game around you.
Right, that's real talk.
And that is real talk.
That's real.
They out there more in the street than adults. But if you ain't careful and learn how to pick up on these signals that people come at you with, you will get caught up, whether it be online or in person.
Right, exactly. Derek.
I was going to say that technology has made the game change, whereas our generation would say that the guy with doing that is no game. But a young guy is saying, or a guy that don't want to deal or don't want to the competition of being in the club, he's going to go to those sites and like Donnie's example, he's going to have 4 screens up because he ain't got to compete against anybody. He can shoot whatever game he want to. He can be whoever he want to. He can post whatever picture he looks like, and he creates. And women do the same thing. They have that show, that catfish show, where the people think it's one person and then it's a fake picture. But those things are out there because people are saying, "Oh, the technology's out here. It makes it easier." But it also makes being a victim easier as well.
Right. Uncle Walt, then go ahead.
I guess I got a question, more so than anything else. It's difficult, I'm old school, as difficult as it is to meet someone in person,
yes,
and get to know them and know something about it. Why are these people doing this? This online,
but it's convenient. It's a little bit easier.
What's easier?
It's easier. You don't have to leave. You can just pull it up and look at a picture and be like, yeah, It's like when you used to go to the club and you see a woman at the club, you be like yes and no. Same thing. The only difference is now instead of you walking up, you click.
My question is,
that's the only difference. Either I'm gonna walk up to you or I'm not. And online, I'm either gonna click or I'm gonna keep on sliding.
I guess my question is like, I mean, you know, I can see you and talk to you. I can get something from eye-to-eye contact with the person. But looking at a computer or looking at somebody on a screen or something like that, you're not talking to in person. How do you let yourself say, okay, well, I'm gonna meet you somewhere? You don't know. I mean, I don't get that.
I got you. Mom, go ahead. I got you. Go ahead.
And listen, you do not have to be stupid. I worked with a guy who was a deputy at the sheriff's department. Rudy Dose. He's dead, so I'm gonna call his name. Because they killed him. Well, no. I mean, it's for real. And he made a deal with this woman. And what she did was she brought her man along with him. And he thought that she was a prostitute. He was going to go get him a free piece. Well, he got his piece all right, because they blew his brains out and left him at the side of the road. And he was a sheriff deputy who should have known better.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Go ahead.
You gotta be careful.
Turn these mics up. It's easy pickings. Is it on?
No.
Hey, when y'all get it, don't turn the button off. Just pass it. Thank you. Go ahead.
It's easy pickings. The young ladies, they conduct themselves in a way that it's easy to find them, and you know how gullible they are. People from all around. I used to online date myself. So you go out there, and you're right. You go on there, you ain't looking for nothing serious. Nothing at all. But everybody else goes on there looking for love, and they fall for everything on there. You just tell them what they need to hear, and it's easy to meet them like that.
Exactly. Good point. Yes, sir.
Hey, you know what, Pastor? This is about my son. My son, he got 17. He might have 18 now. He had 17,000 followers on Instagram. And the first is two stories. The first story was a couple of females. They used to pay for him to come out there. He's in the military, but they paid for him to come out to California. And she did that, what you was talking about. She tripped on him. But this is a little more serious. The second one was from a top modeling agency that do paperwork for Jay-Z and them, take all the pictures. So he liked my son. One of the guys who he modeled for off of Vero Protege, he knew the guy. So they seen my son pictures and they pulled him up to New York for interview, and then they did the modeling thing. So during this, because of what happened, the guy, he had to be about 70 years old, he propositioned my son. Now, my son told him that, man, don't get down like that, this boat, we ain't gonna roll like that. And, but the guy was kind of forceful. My son told him, listen, dog, I'm in the military, but I put hands on you. You know what I'm saying? You really don't want these hands to fly. So, we started talking and stuff. I said, so what happened? He said, well, the man said he didn't know, because as a photographer, where everybody's trying to get into the modeling industry, almost everybody would do anything, okay? So he told my son, my son like, well, I don't. So they did a couple shoots for Calvin Klein and all that, had my son on all this stuff. And from that point, which my son was telling me about the guy, that's how he meet a lot of the models that he either gonna proposition it and take their career nowhere, just to have his way, or let things go. Anyway, my son never did sign a $500,000 contract for the fact that, as they put, if you don't shuffle, you don't deal. You know what I'm saying? So since my son didn't deal, he didn't get shuffled. So it doesn't just hit on the women. No, it's the predators out there for men too.
Yes, it's both. Yeah, it's both. It's both. And again, I'm gonna keep saying it's a dangerous thing. And like I said this last week, and it sounded funny, but it's true. Some of us just we too desperate. We just got to have someone, or you don't feel your life is complete. because you don't have a significant other in your life. And I talked about how some of us, you act like you're so thirsty for a man, you dehydrated. And it's true. And then when you finally drink, you drinking something polluted. You done got a hold of something, whether it's online or whether it's in person. You done found someone who showed this but wasn't really that. And like the man said, he said it's gut. Well, I ain't gonna say gut. We just call it what it is, the Holy Spirit. You don't feel right, you better follow it. You better follow it. If he shows you something or she shows you something or you just don't feel right about him or you don't feel right about her, don't do it. Because like in this case, not only was she in danger, but her son. And sometimes, I'm gonna be real, sometimes we want so much that we forget that there's other people who are affected. That's real talk. I just gotta admit, my kids, they'll be fine. No, they won't be fine. Kids pick up on stuff real good too. They got a good discerning spirit too. And they're not gonna like the dude or the woman in the first place because it ain't their mama and it ain't their daddy. Let me say it again. Because y'all wanna look at me like I'm crazy. They already are going to have an issue because whoever he is or whoever she is not mama and is not daddy. So then you bring this joker in. They already don't have an issue with it because of that, what I just mentioned. And on top of that, they talk crazy, walking in the house and thinking they running stuff. And you ain't paying no attention to how your kid's feeling because you just got to be with him or you just got to be with her. That's messed up. And it messes up a whole lot of kids. Now, I'm not just talking about this, I'm talking about dating, period. Sometimes, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute because it's in the Bible. God wants you by yourself. Yes, he does. Some of y'all are like, no, Yes. I'm going to show you. Paul talks about it. In Corinthians, he talks about it. God wants you by yourself. Let me just hit this right now. If God got somebody for you, you ain't got to go search them. They will come to you. That is a fact. It's no different than anything else. What God has for you is for you. If God has someone for you, God will bring them to you. You don't have to proposition yourself. You don't have to put your picture out there because I had another friend of mine tell me, he said, man, when you go on these sites, it's like an auction. You just keep on going until you find the one you want. I said, man, that's kind of messed up. Think about an auction. That's crazy. Because that's what it's like. He says, you just go on there, it's like an auction. You just keep on going until you find the one that you want or that you think. But I'm going to tell you this, ladies. If there's I'm saying to you this, ladies. If there's a man on there, don't do it. That's real talk. The brothers are in here. If there's a man online, don't do it. He ain't trying to get serious. I'm going to tell you that right now. Real talk. He is not trying to get serious. He's on there because it's easy. I ain't got to work at it. I don't care how many times he can tell you how beautiful your eyes are, your lips are pretty and all. Please. Because he probably done told the other one that he was on talking to just a few minutes ago. And they're on there, I see Richard, they're on there because they want options. That's fine, you tell me, no, that's okay, I got back up. Real talk. You tell me no, that's okay, shoot. Let me slide this one, bam, that's her. She always does. That's what we do. Rich, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say too, a lot of times we put too much information out there about ourselves.
Hold on, stop right there. Hold on. I got that in my notes. Keep that, stop, hold on. This is whether you online dating or whether you dating, period. Right. Listen to this. Yes, sir. We get too intimate too soon. What do you mean? If I go out with you, you don't need to tell me how many kids you have. Or you should be telling the person how many kids you have. You shouldn't tell the person if you were ever married. You shouldn't tell the person what you do for a living. As soon as they start asking, say, no, we just here to talk. Well, because watch this. I don't need to tell you, watch it. I'm telling you from a man's perspective. As soon as you start telling me, you got this kid, my mom like, toys. I'm gonna play on it. If you tell me you were divorced, bam, I'm gonna play on that. Tell me what happened. How did he hurt you? I'm keeping it real with you, ladies. But you talk too much. We just getting to know each other. No, we don't get to know each other by personality first. I don't need to tell you what I do. None of your business. I don't need to tell you what was the last relationship I was in. It's none of your business. What color you like? Yeah, the colors, all that. We just hear that I need to get a feel for you first. And it's going to be a while before I even tell you anything about me. See, because usually when we say intimate, first thing we think about is touching. No, you can be intimate by telling too much business. You talk too much. And men and women play on that. Who else had no mic? Because y'all looking at me. Go ahead, Darren.
The online comment said, people want the easy way with everything. Lazy combined with lonely. The modeling industry is very vulgar, and they were agreeing with Dennis. And they said it brings in money, but the same thing happened because I would not go any further. It was through my agent that was trying to get something from me. And another comment, I went 2 years single, no dating, no sex, no social media. I focused on spiritual relationship, and it was awesome. No, it wasn't always easy, but I would pray when lonely and ask God to hold me, and he did. Right. Read that again. You said something this minute ago. I was out the job of my memory. I was going to say something. Read the last few parts. Went 2 years single, dating, no sex, no social media. Okay, good. Stop right there. Let me tell you something. Ladies, this is for the ladies. Because men, we don't hear this, so that's why I'm saying this for ladies. I'm just being for real. Ladies, if you really want to know if a man is for real with you, you tell him from the very beginning, I ain't having sex with you. You tell him the very first date, I'm just gonna let you know that we're not gonna be having no sex. I'm gonna wait till I get married. Let me tell you something. A man that will wait for you, that's him. Y'all hear what I say? Now I know some of them, I know. Well, no, I want to know what it's like too before I get in it. I done heard that. Let me tell you about that. That complicates a whole lot of stuff. Or I heard the other side. Well, if I don't give it to him, somebody else will. Let me help you. He'll do it even if you do give it to him. It don't matter. But a man that respects the fact that you will tell him, I don't want you touching me. If you're in this, if you're thinking that after the second, third, fourth, fifth date that we're going to have sex, I'm letting you know now. It ain't happening. You'll know real quick. But watch this. You'll know one or two things real quick, or he'll keep on trying till he conquer you. Because for some of us, it's a challenge. Hey, man, look, man, I went out with this girl tonight. She told me she ain't going to try to give me any. I'm going to push this thing. Watch me. Real talk.
At the date 4.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just going to
add to that. Okay, so true story. I was at my job and I met this dude. We exchanged numbers and stuff. Okay, so we text back and forth the first day and it was okay. So the next day I was at work, he kept calling and stuff like that. He kept sending me like these little nasty texts and stuff, and I had told him like, look, I'm not into all that kind of stuff like that. And then he texted me.
This your first time hearing this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, no.
I want to make sure because I don't want the backhand coming.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I told him. So after that, he got mad. He was like, okay, well, I'm married anyway, so good luck.
Really? Wow.
And then, so today, I seen him again today. And that's the funniest part. And he was trying to smile in my face, and I was like, what you want? And he was like, I just want to see if you're okay, how you been. I'm good.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy. Over here, and then over here. But what? Oh, go ahead. And I'm gonna move on to some other stuff too, but I still want to touch on this, what we're talking about though. Go ahead. Man, what's wrong with the mics, y'all? Is it on? Okay. Can y'all turn them up and leave the green light on?
It was on.
Okay. It was on? Okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we're kind of touching on base what she was saying. Both ways, man and female, there's a lot of people out here that prey on married people and they get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
And like I've seen it a lot. Not just here in Texas, but since I moved here, I've seen it more where they look for people that's married. And like it kind of, to me, being that I was married before, and I took my marriage seriously, even though it didn't work out at the time, I was young, but just to see how people, don't take marriage seriously, and it's just like I said, when I moved down here, it just was like even more. I'm like, wow, to see people really take out the time to find people that's married. That's all they want. Right. They don't want a single person.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it go both ways. It go both ways. There's a whole lot of folks who prey on married people, and a whole lot of folks who prey on the single. In other words, everybody crazy. Keep it real. We all crazy. Single, married folks, whatever. Go ahead.
You know, Pastor, I don't know. When I was coming up and we was playing in the game, we was taught the word no, when it came to female, mean next opportunity.
Yeah.
That's how we took everything. So no really wasn't, and I know it's harder for the younger adults now because, like you said, it just swipe on to the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, for us it was no mean next opportunity.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this, and maybe some of y'all agree, maybe don't agree. I just think that dating now is absolutely off the chain. It's crazy because you just don't know what people are into now. I mean, real talk, folk are into some crazy stuff nowadays, and you don't know who you get. Who had Uncle Walt and then Paulette?
I just want to go back to what you were talking about giving out too much information.
Yes.
And it's not only verbally giving out too much information, but showing too much of what you have.
Okay.
And what people are into is impressing. You want to impress this person,
You talked about that last week.
Yeah, I've had that experience, where I've been with a woman who had a lot of things to offer, and that was supposed to impress me, and I was supposed to go for that. I mean, and it happens to men and women.
Yes,
and that's what it's all about. That's what and that's what you get into, giving out too much information.
Too much information. Too much, man. Y'all know I showed y'all a few weeks ago in the sermon that you got too much information.
So to, I guess, elaborate on your question, Uncle Walt, in regards to why people would go onto the sites. I have talked to several women that utilize these sites, and the main reason that, and I'm only speaking from a woman's perspective because that's who I spoke to about it, but they feel like there's no opportunities to find men anywhere. And so they feel like they haven't found anyone at the church, they haven't found anyone at the grocery store, and so they go onto the sites as a means of looking for a date. And as someone mentioned over there, it's hard to date now. But that would be the reason why most women go on there. And so men, if you want to say that they prey on these women, they prey on these women because they know that these women they're vulnerable. And they're looking for someone to share their lives with or to be with or whatever. And so the men know that they're vulnerable. But the other point that I wanted to make about it is not only is it dangerous for each party physically, but I have a friend that had a situation where also you don't know who that person is. In that they may not be abusive, physically abuse you, but they have secrets. And so a marriage took place through this dating online piece. And then later on, as it turned out, the guy turned out he was gay. And so just the secrets and things that you don't know, and it could happen even if the person met him in person, it could happen. But the point is just really paying attention and not ignoring, because as pastor, he used the term thirsty. But as women, because you want someone in your life, you tend to ignore things. You tend to, you thinking about yourself, and this was told to me as well. I was thinking about, not in that situation, but another situation. So I've talked to several women, but I was thinking about myself, and I was ignoring the signs, because the niceties and they start out wonderful. And it moves quickly. The relationship moves on quickly. And then the jealousy kicks in. And then the pop-ups, the surprise visits and things like that. And you think, oh, he loves me, he adores me, and he's, surprising me. And those are tendencies to abuse, leading to abuse. And so just, don't ignore things that you know is a red flag. Because we say, oh, there was no red flags, but really there were. Honestly, if you're honest with yourself, there were red flags. And when you're so vulnerable and you are so, I don't want to use the word thirsty, but I'm going to use it anyway. Gullible, thank you, Mom. And you just in need, you feel like you in need. One is a whole number. You need yourself. You are not lacking. You are whole. You are complete. And you are supposed to, when you're in a relationship, it's an added, it's an addition. It's not that person that's just, you cannot live to the point where you absolutely need another human being. And when you feel like you're there, then you know you need to run. Like Forrest, you need to get out of it, because you are dependent too much on that person, and that's where you can be hurt.
Yeah, Adrian. Who Sakina, then Adrian. I want to give some different people a chance to talk too. So, go. Who? Who?
I said she forgot what she was on.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Adrian.
Well, Jesus. So.
I'm trying to, because it's online.
I can't.
We have people listening, so we have to make sure they hear it.
So I'm very transparent, and all the chosen ladies know it. So I'm single, and it's easier. I'm just gonna be transparent, because I'm sitting here and I've listened to the times when Pastor has spoke about online, and immediately those who have used it, we get offended. Okay, So everybody that's here tonight, we supposed to be here to hear this. Okay, so I stopped being so quick to be offended.
Yeah, come on,
and
baby.
listen,
Say it, baby.
because I've been there. I've been on online sites. And I can say I wasn't thirsty. I can say I was bored. Whatever term you want to use. I just got exhausted with them. Like, for what? Like, no. You just get exhausted. And I'm sitting here looking at these videos and I'm hearing everything. And I'm like, how many sites I just forgot about? And my stuff is out there.
Wow.
You know? And I'm like, I don't even use them, haven't used them in years, and my stuff is still out there.
Wow. Wow.
Another thing that I want to speak on, it's not, you know, our perception doesn't mean it's your reality. It's just some real things that's going on that's being shed, a lot of light being shed on it. Doesn't mean that it's your reality per se. So we shouldn't get offended so quickly. And a lot of times, and I'm just going to speak, I've been married before, so I'm on both sides of the coin, been there. A lot of us single people tend to think, especially when a married one speaks, you saying this, but you married. I'm just going to say what's going on in y'all single minds, because it's been there. You saying that, but you, First Lady, you just said all that, but you married. You got yours, so how you going to tell me, and Pastor, how you going to tell me God meant for you to be single, but yet you're married? I know what's going on in your minds because it's been there, in mine. So we have to sit here and take heed to what's going on, because we would never grow. Guess what? I'm always saying I'm going to be married. I'm going, and I am. I am. But and it's going to be a man that God chose for me. That he chose for me. So I have to learn to stop sitting here. And I just don't be transparent. I've been married. I've been lost my husband, though all those, he'll never leave his wife. They do. They do. Mine did. I've been a woman who dated a married man. Did I want him to leave his wife? Nope. But I liked the situation, and I stayed with it until God delivered me from it.
Yeah, come on.
You see what I'm saying? So it's so many, we could sit here and we could pretend and we could be hidden behind these masks, or you can actually grow and learn and get out of it. And get out of it, you know, and it's like we have to, it's hard, I know it. You get tired of making the decisions by yourself. You get tired, you work all day, you really don't go out no more, so, you know, let me try this site, because I ain't meeting nobody, you know. But I met somebody, he wasn't online, I didn't tell him everything, but he didn't know how to date me. So we talking about dating, right? He didn't know how to date me. Single, but this married man knew how to date me. I'm just being transparent. Knew how to date me, knew how to keep my attention, but the married one who's available, I didn't meet him online, he's a cool guy, nice, believe in the Lord and everything, but didn't know how to date me, and I can say that I wasn't being patient, but no, I'm not going to be thirsty and just accept anything. Right? So I'm just being transparent to those who are single, who does have sites, who have dated a married man or a married woman. And there are married ones that's seeking the unmarried. It ain't just us young people going out with these married, because I ain't seeking no married man, it just happened. I didn't say no though. I'm just keeping it real. You know, I'm just really real. You gotta keep it real if you really want to go somewhere. Straight up. I'm just saying, you know, and everybody that go on sites, it's not because you don't feel like you can't find somebody. I can meet somebody anywhere. But I'll be like, you know, but it's so many variables and so many reasons why we do things, but we do need to pay attention to all of the negative things that, or outcomes that has come from making that choice. Not saying that every situation will end up that way, but why take that chance? That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for being here. That's awesome. You didn't have to do that. Who's the head of that? I didn't see a red arm. Oh, it's Katrina. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. What I've come to find out as being single, when we actually date, the situation becomes by women being nurturers and givers by nature, we tend to give our boyfriends husband privileges. They didn't ask for it, they didn't earn it, and they sure don't deserve it, but we give it away so freely. And that's how we end up getting trapped. We're trapped into a situation where it's hard for us to get out because we've given this given this person all of this that they never asked for it because they surely don't deserve it. And then we have nothing left for ourselves. So once we're in those relationships, ladies, remember, don't give them anything they didn't ask for, deserve, or earn. No husband privileges.
You know, kind of going off of Paulette said it and Katrina said, ladies, those of you who are single and dating, do not always be available. An older woman told me that years ago when I was a teenager. Even if you're home and he comes and he knocks on the door, don't always answer the door. It shows that you are just, desperate. Be there sometimes and let him think that you're not there. Don't always be available.
Don't always be available. That's good. Go ahead.
So I don't know if you guys heard this story recently.
Hold on. I'm gonna move on to another subject after that.
Okay. It was a man. He just got in trouble for marrying 3 different women. So we have to be careful. I believe he was from San Antonio, and we have to be careful. And we as Christian women, you know. And I'm not just saying that it's just men that do this, but I'm just speaking to the women. They will lie and they will deceive you to get what it is that they want to get, even all the way to marrying you. So we have to ask God for discernment because they're so good and crafty and sneaky and conniving at what they do that we can get tricked up real easy.
Listen. Yeah, we miss him. That's right. This was always touchy. I'm going to touch on this real quick and I'm going to move on because I want to talk about something else real quick. So I'm going to show you some stuff in the Bible, what Paul says about being single. And this is one of those ones one of the things that I've said that's a little sensitive. But I'm always this is men. If a man is over 35, ain't too many of them trying to settle down. We ain't talking about online either. We're talking about period. Usually men over 35, they ain't trying to settle down. They're not. You may find 1 or 2%, because usually a man that's over 35, he's already been married, don't want to get married again. Or he's never been married, don't have intentions to get married. Has kids, don't want to help raise your kids. I'm just being honest. And what I'm sharing with you all, ladies, is what we as men talk about. Am I right, brothers? Don't y'all leave me up here because these ladies looking at me like they're finna cut me. Am I right, brothers? Am I right? Yeah. This the kind of stuff that we as men talk about. Not saying, now I don't want anyone sitting there saying, well, no, it's not all cases. I'll give you 2%. Real talk. Most men over 35 are not trying to settle down. They're just not. They've already done it. Been there, done it. Even 6.0. Look at that. Mr. Brother Vivian, he's over 6.0. He know.
72.
He's 72, he know. What I'm saying, I'm just telling you all that men over 35, real talk, they're not trying to settle down. They're just not going to do that. They're going to be on these sites, or they're going to be going out places, and they're going to tell you everything. But here's the key, watch. As soon as you tell a man over 35, y'all going out for a while, as soon as you say these words, we've been going out for a while, where are we going with this? That right there is my cue to bounce. Am I right, brothers? If I'm right, stand up. If I'm right, brother, stand up. Don't leave me hanging.
I'm out the door.
Okay. That's real talk. As soon as you say that.
Where we going? I'm going home.
As soon as you say that, unless I've already had a previous relationship with you, unless we've already been serious with each other, if I'm just meeting you, you can forget it.
We doing good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm good.
I don't want, listen, men of 35 don't want to get serious again because they're comfortable being by themselves. They don't have to answer. They can go where they please.
Don't have to report. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Real talk, I don't have to answer to nobody. My money's my money. I don't have to explain it to you. My money. That's real. I'm just keeping it real with you. All right, go ahead.
That is literally me.
Man, okay, go ahead. I'm going to go on to something else. Go ahead.
Okay. I disagree.
Who agreed? Who disagreed? Go ahead. Go ahead. You disagree all you want to. I'm a man. I mean, how you going to tell me you disagree?
So this is what I'll say. Because I knew he was going to say I'm a man.
That's right.
You are a man. Yes,
okay.
you are, baby.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesus. Sexy, too. And he's mine. Ladies, please do not be discouraged by what Pastor Lonnie Earl Coleman has just said about the 35-year-old man and above. Keep hope alive. I do not believe that all men over 35 or 35 and above are not looking for love and not looking to settle down.
I said 2%.
And I do not...
2%. I didn't say all, I said 2%. You may find 2%.
I missed that part, so
yes, I said
admit
2%.
that.
You may find 2, but I'm telling you, chances of you all finding a man over 35 that wants to be serious, it's not going to happen.
Listen, here's the thing. You seek God first.
Amen.
And again, yes, I'm married and I got a sexy, bald-headed, goatee man up there. So yes, I'm saying it from that perspective, but I do not believe I think that percentage is pretty high. But I don't want you all women, single women, to feel like that there's not a relationship out there when you get, because that's the thing is we get to a certain age and we start to feel like there's no hope. And so you start going onto these sites because you take anything that come across your plate because you feel like I've gotten to this age, there's no one else, there's no one available. Everybody 35 and above does not want to settle down. Just trust God.
Trust God. Now what I just told you.
And don't give up on love.
Don't give up on love. I give y'all 2%. I ain't say 100. I'm telling you as men what we do. Here's the thing, ladies. Y'all just, real talk. We laughing, that's cool. My hope for all of you all, seriously, as single women, that you'll find someone that God has for you. Real talk. I'm just being for real with you. But I'm telling you, we're men, we talk. Married men and single men, we talk. And the men that I talk to, and the men that they are here, this stuff we say. I ain't trying to settle down. It's no different when you as ladies talk. Am I right? Y'all talk too. Y'all know certain things about what y'all say about a man. But I'm just telling y'all, from a man's perspective, I'm just telling you, Donnie, Derek, you want to say something? Then Donnie, go ahead.
Well, I think what happens is there's so much competition. We all know the women outnumber men. So to find a straight man that has a job, that's not in prison, the pool is small. And as far as men and ladies, if you're gonna let the man rent the car, he'll rent the car for as long as he can without buying it. So when it goes to, we'll rent the car. I mean, if you're gonna cook for us, you're gonna let us come over, you're gonna let us stay the night, we rent the car. If we're not going towards a relationship or going towards a future together, we're not trying to buy. And then we're gonna rent, and then we rent. But if you don't ever stand up for something to say, look, no, I'm not gonna stand for that, I want something more, then you're not going to get that person at the end of the rainbow. You're not going to get the car. The person's gonna move on.
Listen, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know,
I need to read something.
I truly believe that regardless of the situation or the relationship, it is, like you said, it's God's thing. And I say that because as a kid, I saw what I thought was a very dysfunctional situation between a man and a woman. But these two people were meant for each other. And I say that because then I'm going to tell you a little story. This guy named Slim.
Go talk to me.
This guy named Slim. I was probably about 12 years old, laying in my bed out my back window, and he was trying to get in his house. He was drunk as a skunk. Put a ladder up to the second floor where he lived. And when he got to the top of that ladder, his wife pushed that ladder over him. And he laid on the ground, and I heard him yell up to her, Emma, when I get in there, I'm going to break your arm. The next day, I saw them walking down the street, arm in arm. Her arm was broke. But they were arm and arm. So regardless of how dysfunctional it may be, you know, whoever you meant to be with, you're going to be with.
Right. I don't know about that one. Go ahead, Donnie. Not a little violent. Go ahead, Donnie. Now, hold on. Y'all were quiet because y'all wanted to say what I just said. Go ahead. Y'all were thinking that, like, no, that ain't God. That's the devil. Go ahead, Donnie.
Statistically, right, Pastor, I love you, and I would never go against anything that you say, right? But statistically, let me show of hands of all the single ladies in here. Don't be afraid to raise your hand, right? So out of all these single women that are here right now, statistically, we have no hope.
I didn't say that.
Because you said 1 or 2%, right?
Okay, can I ask y'all a question, ladies? Can I ask y'all a question? Why is it for, real talk, why is it so hard for you all to believe that? No. Okay. I'll do this then. 5%. Too low, I'll give you 5. Y'all don't want the truth. I love y'all, no, real talk. I love y'all, but y'all frustrate me because I'm telling you what we as men talk about. I'm trying to give you the game. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all a question in a minute. Go ahead. What's your name? Sydney? All right, Sydney, be careful. This is your first time here. Don't say nothing crazy. No, go ahead, I'm Sydney. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, like, I'm sorry. We talk too, us as women.
Yes!
A lot to say, and I like my free time too. And I hate lazy guys that sit around my house and do nothing and try to call me and tell me I'm cute, and I'm like, you don't even know what book I'm reading. Bye.
Right.
So, like, I'm about to be 30, and I feel like I'm in the same pool as those 35-year-olds because I don't want to take care of your kid and your friends.
Oh, well, see? Ain't nothing but see. Come here. You are a member of God Way Christian Fellowship. Because you just proved my point. But go ahead.
I'm saying I agree with you. I mean, I don't feel like love is dead and like everybody everybody, because I want to be loved and I got love to give, but at the same time, like, it goes both ways. Like, guys are, you know,
Hold on. You said something. I didn't cut you off, but you just said something. Because what you said is what men say too. I'm not trying to be with someone who already got a kid. Because I ain't trying to raise their kid either. You're saying the same thing that we as men say.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to deal with that crazy baby mama drama that y'all have.
Boy, look at here. Boy, look at here. Ladies, are y'all listening to your own? Are you listening to your own?
I feel that way, but also I want to be loved too, and like,
of course,
I can work through things, but we gotta work through them together. Like, love isn't dead, but I definitely agree with you. You've been saying, like, guys say that, but we talk too.
Yes, y'all do, and I agree. That's why I said from a man's perspective, and you just confirm. Y'all talk and y'all say the same thing. Liz, go ahead. I'm just a kid. I'm sorry. I see, but Liz had the microphone. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, when I had my kids, I had my kids really young. By 23, I had all 4 of my kids. And we went through a hard time. Oscar and I went through a hard time and we separated. And when I had my first child, I knew that my life no longer belonged to me. My life belonged to my kids. So when Oscar and I were separated, never, ever did I date because my attention was totally focused on my children. I said, if we get back together in the future, it'll happen. But for me to bring another man around my children, I wouldn't do that because there's a lot of women who will bring all these men because they feel lonely. Because I don't want to be alone. You're not alone. You got your children with you. Raise your kids, be there first. And when that person is there and they're gonna be the right person for you, you'll know.
Right.
You'll know.
Right.
But your attention needs to be focused on your children.
Right.
Not about loving, who's gonna hold me, kiss me, touch me. Don't matter.
Exactly.
Have your kids hug you.
That's right. That's right. You know, because see, I need another brother who agrees with me.
Single.
Because
Single brother. Not married.
oh, single brother. Hey, we're gonna give it to the single ones. Watch. Listen.
Now I'll say that I agree to an extent. Now, if you run into a guy, like I'm 31 myself, and like I said, I've been married before, but I'm still looking for marriage. And I want a wife, but I want it the right way. Like I don't want to play. I feel like myself, I live by the motto where, like you said, nice guys finish last. You got a lot of women out here, I'm not gonna say all of them, but they like the bad guys or the ones that's gonna lie to them. And I'm the one that's gonna keep it real, keep it 100 up front, and then they don't wanna hear that. So, I mean, like it puts me in a position where, because of the other guys before that really wasn't trying to do the right thing, and I come the right way, I'm discounted off the rip. So it's like, it's hard for myself too, because I mean, like I feel like I'm rare. I mean, I'm 31, no kids, no record, good job, good head on my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's not what they want though. You know what I'm saying? That's not what they want.
But, right. You know what? Go ahead. Little brother, go ahead. Little brother, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, with me, it's a little different because when I was younger, I was the bad boy. I was the bad dude. But now I'm cool and I'm calm, collected, everything. I'm trying to get my life together, and it's like, I don't know, everybody's so used to it, and that's what they looking for, and that ain't what they getting. So they like, well, I don't like this Rashawn. I want the old Rashawn. And that ain't me. And so, I mean, I be finding myself in a position before. It's like my situation now that I was just back home. I was trying to be with the mother of my my children. I heard so much, and now that I'm like trying to win her back and do right, it's like it's over with. Cause you done put me through so much, and now I ain't used to this new you, and I don't want you no more. So I had to fall back and be cool.
Wow. Listen, wow. Now, hold on. Now, listen. He's 31.
I knew he was gonna say that.
I said 35 and older. That's what I said, though. It's real talk. Who had the read? Go ahead. Boy, I knew this was going to get y'all revved up, boy. Y'all, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I want to say something real quick.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying as far as it's like a 1 to 5%. That's all we have, and I get that to a certain extent because so many men are locked up that the homes are broken. So therefore, you don't know how to be ahead of the household and be that man that you need to be in the household. So these women are turning to other women. That's right. You know what I mean? So it's so much that's going on that the structure is not there. I'm not gay, and I don't have anything wrong with people that's being gay. I don't have a HEL to put you in or throw you out. I don't have anything to do that, but you have to kind of look at the dynamic of it all. You know what I mean? And so I think there is love, but just like you said, you do have to wait. But sometimes it takes a toll on you to a certain extent. So you do online dating and different things of that sort. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I'm going to just date and pass on. As you get older, you just certain things you just pass on. But we are broken. We are broken as a whole.
Yes, good point. Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's Akina. I'm sorry. That ain't there. Baby D. Go ahead, Akina.
I was going to say, as a single person, it's okay to be alone. So many people get caught up because they, like you said, they can't be alone. I know several that they just got to have somebody. And when I tell them, I've been single and I've been celibate for a few years, and I'm happy because I got a peace of mind. I ain't got to argue with nobody. Like the sister said, I ain't got to nobody. Where you at? Where you been? What you cooking tonight? Where you going? I don't have all that. I got peace of mind. And ain't nothing worth my peace of mind. And I know God is going to send a person for me when he get ready for him to come, when it's time. So it's okay to be single and it's okay to be happy. One time my mom and my auntie, if you don't hear me find somebody, I'm going to find you somebody. I'm like, please, they used to give my phone number out. I cuss people out. I'm like, phone number. Yeah, but stop giving my number out to people. I let that guy hear something. No, don't try to put me with nobody. Because I don't want nobody else's trash. You know what I'm saying? I done threw a lot of my own trash out, so I'm not going to get somebody else's trash.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to wait. You know what I'm saying? So just encourage people. It's okay to wait. It's okay to be celibate. You ain't got to, light the fire. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Because
I'm going to get into that. I'm about to get to that right now.
One time you light that fire, you might light something that you can't.
Yeah, buddy. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say that sometimes I feel like people put so much pressure on the woman to be what's right and to do this and to do that. And you need to wait and be celibate. But it goes both ways.
Of course. Yeah.
And I just feel like sometimes men take advantage of that.
Yes.
And even men in the church,
Yes.
like I feel like the responsibility is first on the man and then the woman.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to be a leader. And I also sometimes, to be honest, like as a single person, recently single, it's hard to stay encouraged and hopeful. Depending on what you've been through, like for myself, for instance, I got married with the right intentions.
Right.
But unfortunately, I was taken advantage of. And I really did feel in my heart that this person was for me. And I really, at the time, I believed that that's who God wanted me to be with. But sometimes it's discouraging when it doesn't work out. And so then you tend to second guess yourself as a woman. And that's something, we have to work on. But
good for you.
It's hard.
Yes, it is. It is hard. It is. Tony, and then go ahead, Tony. And then I need 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and then I need Genesis chapter 2, and then I'm gonna close it out. Go ahead, Tony.
I'll say this, for the young, single men who are,
in a single life. Me, when I came home from prison, I asked God to send me a helpmate. You know what I'm saying? I had to go back to the beginning of the Bible to understand what I needed in my life, rather than coming out looking for just a hit and run. You know what I mean? So when I came home, I prayed and I said, Lord, I need a helpmate, someone that can help me be a man. I need somebody that can help me and help me just be what you want me to be. I thank God for my baby. Amen. And when I met her, the Bible says that all of my help comes from the Lord. All of my help comes from her. So when a woman come in your life that was created for you, like Eve was created for Adam, then she'll be able to help you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we put ourselves in positions where we ain't got no help. But being a man, we take on certain responsibilities that may overweigh us. It may put us down because we, in our mind, we feel like, okay, we the man. But the Bible talks about that helpmate, where a lot of women today abandon that particular topic, which the woman is the helpmate. When God created man, he didn't create man and woman together. He created man first. And then he said it is not good for a man to be alone. So he came back and he created man a what? A helpmate, a woman, someone that will help him succeed. That's just my output. Go ahead.
No, I see.
I thought you wanted the verses.
Who?
I thought you wanted the verses.
Oh yeah, hold on, right? Yeah, I'm gonna get the verses real quick. I need the New Living Translation.
What verse?
On both.
7?
On both, all of them.
What verse on 1 Corinthians chapter 7?
I want Genesis first.
Okay.
And then go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to remind every father and mother, I mean, my grandkids, my children are married now, but my grandkids are 4 and 12 years old, but since they were babies, before they were babies, I've been praying for them. And that is one of the things that I pray for, that God guides the right spouse to them when they grow up.
Right.
So I pray on them, which is what we all need to be doing for our children.
Yes. Yep. Genesis. Y'all got it? I need Genesis 2:18 real quick. Who got it? All right, let me hear it.
Then the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him.
All right, stop right there. And something about it says suitable. All right for him. Y'all, some people talked about it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Be patient. Pray. And if you want to be with someone, ask God to give you someone that's suitable for you.
Amen.
That is meant for you.
That's right. That's right.
Now watch this. Ooh, this is good. This is good. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Watch this. Eve was already suitable for Adam, and they didn't even have sex yet. Ooh, preach, boy. Y'all hear what I just said?
That's good.
They were already meant for each other, and they didn't have sex to confirm it. It's in the Bible. They were already meant for each other. It was only after God told him, now, be fruitful and multiply. But God already said, okay, Adam, this Eve right here, that I made her for you. Eve, I made Adam for you. Adam, I made Eve for you. It goes together. She's suitable for him. He's suitable for her.
That's right. That's right.
And when they messed up together.
That's good.
Before they even had sex. That's your prayer. If you want to be with someone, your prayer needs to be this. Show me someone, bring someone in my life that is suitable without having sex. Because once sex comes in, it changes everything. It does. It changes everything. Without it, you'll be able to tell whether or not he's right or she's right. Especially for a man of you. I told you earlier, ladies, tell them in the beginning, you'll know. I'm not hanging around if I gotta wait. But if I really feeling you, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna prove to you that I'm the man that I need to be. I'm gonna be Adam. Before we have sex, I'm gonna show you that I'm suitable before sex. Read chapter 7, verse 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 7.
But I wish everyone were single, just as I am. Yet each person has a special gift from God of one kind or another.
Now watch this. When you keep on reading before that, Paul is saying this. If you're single, it's a gift. And if you're married, it's a gift. Gosh. If you're married, it's a gift. If you are single, it's still a gift. Okay. Either way, here's what I like. Read verse 32 through 34. First Corinthians, chapter 7, same thing.
I want you to be free from the concern of this life. An unmarried man can spend his time doing the Lord's work and thinking how to please him. But a married man has to think about his earthly responsibilities and how to please his wife.
Okay. You know what he's saying there? I'm just going to break it down real simple. If you're single, you got more time to work for the ministry. When you're married, you have a whole lot more other responsibilities. Now, I'm not saying that if you're married, you still shouldn't be doing ministry work. That's not what I'm saying. He's saying, but when you are single, you can help the kingdom more because you don't have many distractions if you do when you're married. Now, I'm going to say this last thing. I know people want to be married, right? Marriage does not mean you still won't feel lonely. Being married does not mean you still won't have sexual temptations. Being married does not mean that your emotions will still be stable. Because a lot of people, they want to get married because they're tired of being lonely. There's a whole lot of lonely folks that are married. Because you're in the house, you're just in the house. You always become roommates. So all that stuff about, well, I just want to be with someone. Okay, great. I get it. But being with someone ain't enough. I ain't got time for just being with someone. I buy a dog. I'll be with someone. That's right. That's right. At least the dog can't talk back. Come on, talk to me. That's real talk. You gotta love yourself first, though. How you gonna love someone else who don't love you? You got to love you. Otherwise, it's going to be hell in your marriage. And a whole lot of folks got married prematurely. Shouldn't have never happened. But because you just had to be with someone. Now you done find, I don't want to be lonely my whole life. Look, y'all, I like peace. Amen. I like peace. I'm serious.
Yes, sir.
Y'all see me here, boy, some of my best times just when I'm just all by myself. Ain't nothing like when it's just you and it's yeah. But sometimes we as men, we as women have to stop trying to push and no, that ain't what I said. Stop trying to get God to do something for you that he ain't ready to do for you yet. You ain't ready. You think you ready. You're not ready because you don't know if you've ever been married, if you're married now. Being married, you got to deal with everything. I got to deal, because when I marry you, I'm marrying your debt. If you got kids, I'm marrying your kids. I'm marrying your dirty ways. The way you leave shoes on the floor, drawers, panties, everything. I got to deal with all of that. I got to deal with the fact that I can't just get up and go when I want to leave. I got to explain myself to you. Well, before I can just get up and go, a whole lot changes when you get married. See, everyone gets all excited about preparing for the wedding, but the mess happens, hell break loose the week after the wedding's over with. Then reality hit. Why you didn't pay the caterer? DJ still ain't been paying. Now, see, we already fighting. And it's just 1 week. I like, if I'm single, I can be mad at nobody but myself. If a bill ain't paid, I shouldn't have shot. I can't blame him or her. Come on, we're talking. Be patient. Listen, y'all two the last ones, and I need y'all to keep it brief too, because it's almost 9 o'clock and I know it's good. Listen, I know, I understand the whole concept of not being by myself. I get it. I understand all that. I get it. I really do get it. I'm not being sarcastic. I understand it. I do. However, if it's God's will that you single for the rest of your life, you ain't gonna go crazy. You're not gonna die. That ain't gonna make it. You're gonna be just fine because it's God's will. Now, Paul said, Sue, I wish I would be married, but I can't. But God don't want me to be married. Some of us in here, if you had them stand up, Dottie, I'm gonna keep it real. Some single ladies in here, and if there's any single men here, guess what? Some of y'all are never gonna get married. That's the reality. Whether you want to hear that or not, you're not gonna get married. Again. You are not gonna be with anybody. That's the reality. Whether you want to hear and get mad, talk what y'all do and preach about it, whatever. That's the truth. Some of you not. God's will is not for you to be with anyone. And then some of you all in here who stood up, it's God's will for you to be with someone. But it's God that will decide it. Don't you decide it? Because when you decide it, your marriage is going to end like that. You're going to be a repeat offender. Some of us are repeat offenders. You still ain't got it yet. If it ain't worked, and if it ain't worked, it ain't worked, then dang, maybe God's telling me he don't want me to be with nobody. Star, and then we're going to end right here with Tamika, and then we're going to close out.
Well, I was going to say, I got married, and now I'm going through a divorce, but, you know, I wanted my marriage to work like when I was married to their dad, you know, and my first husband passed away. But now, you know, I'm happy being single because you know what, and the Lord told me, you know what, you're going to welcome in being single. Now you're gonna learn your lesson. And you're gonna welcome it in because now you know things that I can get off and pray anytime I want to. I can study my word. I can put my Bible all across my bed when I want to. I ain't got nobody worry me. When you coming to bed? When you gonna do? When you gonna cut the light out? When you gonna do this? It can just be me and God, you know. And then now I'm older, and you know what? It's things I want a certain way. I want them a certain way. I want my house clean a certain way. I want things a certain way. And when people don't have them that way, I have a problem with it. So now I guess I'm setting my ways. And then you got somebody that wants to live a different way. And I just now it's just different. But my most important thing is that when you single, you can seek God and you can be with God how you want to, anytime you want to. But when you get a partner and they calling on you, it's just totally different, So.
But you better get your partner that will let you pray. Go ahead, Timmy. Last one. Don't y'all raise your hand no more. Don't do it. Go ahead. Let you see the one right here. Go ahead, Timmy.
I was going to say this. I feel like I had rushed in my marriage to get married. I'm just going to be honest. Me and my husband going through some things right now, but I felt like God was telling me to wait. And I did not want to wait. I wanted to go ahead and get married and everything. So God said, okay, you want to be married? Go ahead and get married. And I wish I could have waited. I really do. I just wish I have waited. Now I'm coming to church. Y'all don't see my husband here with me. And I know sometimes people feel like, well, she said she's married, but we don't ever see her husband, and I mean, I'm just like, God, I just wish I could have waited, I'm just letting y'all know, don't rush. Y'all, single ones, just wait. I'm telling you, wait.
Yeah. Good advice. Okay. Very good advice. Very good. Last, only because I like you.
It's true. I've been married now 47 years, 19 years separated, Paul. Wow. 19, and I'm not looking either.
I'm done. I ain't looking either. I understand, yeah.
Massachusetts, I live here.
Yeah.
And like I said, God will help you go through the hard times.
Yes, He will.
Believe me, I would like some companion, but I ain't looking. He's got to come to my door and say, hey, here it is.
Hey, look, I'm glad we had this discussion. Again, listen, y'all. I'm gonna say this again. I said it at the beginning. I'm gonna say it again. I'm only telling you all these things, whether you all agree with it or not, because I care. Okay? Because I care. And you don't get mad, so mad that you just like, or whatever. Come on. I care. And the last thing I want is for anyone in this church to be hurt when I could try to say something to prevent it. Now, I'm not trying to say again that y'all that stood up, I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying not to give you no false hope. I'm just trying to tell you, from a man's perspective, the things that men talk about. So if it doesn't happen for you, you don't feel like there's something wrong with me. No, there's something wrong with us as men. Real talk. Real talk. Y'all are great. Women, y'all, hey, y'all want to find a good man, you a good woman, great. Men, we're just not like that. We're not wired like that. After we're 35, we're just not wired like that. I'm just being honest with you. And I appreciate my sister here that came and she said what I said, but watch this, but when she said it, oh yeah, but when I said it, it was all kind of looks at me. That's messed up. But she said the truth though. Now see, I'm gonna talk to the brothers, because see, the brothers, they be talking when it's private. But now we here, y'all done got quiet too. Y'all done left your boy hanging. I see how y'all do. I see how y'all do. Y'all left me hanging up here tonight. Y'all left me hanging up here. This is...
You broke the code. You broke the code. Locker room.
I broke the code. Oh yeah, I broke the code is I'm not supposed to tell y'all. That's the code. I broke the code. What else? I love my ladies at God's way. If I gotta break the code to keep y'all's hearts protected, I'm gonna break the code. That's right. Y'all just be mad at me. Let's stand and go home before I don't make it home safely. All these ladies jump me. These single ladies up in here, they finna jump me, boy. They looked at me crazy. Yeah, we'll continue it next week. We'll do some more talking next week too. I'm having a good time with this. I hope all this has been helpful though. I hope it's been helpful. We've been laughing, but I'm glad we're dealing with some real stuff. I'm glad we're dealing with some real stuff. All right, let's pray. God knows your needs. I'm not going to ask because we'll be here all day. God knows whatever I pray for, God knows what you need. Father God, I ask that you would just watch over us, God, and protect us. Shield us from all hurt, harm, and danger. Thank you for being in our midst today. Thank you, Father God, that we can agree to disagree and still laugh and love each other at the same time. Lord, we just ask that you would just help all of us to recognize false people in our lives. Whether someone's married or whether someone's single, show us who these people are. Lord, there's single ladies in this church and single men in this church as well. My prayer for them, Father God, is that you bring someone in their life that's suitable without having sex. That they'll be tailor-made just for them. That they will treat them like the king that they are and like the queen that they are. But in the meantime, help male and female to be patient and to wait for you to move and not us. Lord, we thank you for Jesus. We thank you for the blood that he shed on the cross for us. It's in his name that we pray. Amen.